I can't believe how much stuff got done yesterday. I feel like this whole build we've been taking stuff out, making messes, making stuff dirty. Because of course it's a work site, we're redoing the boat, so it doesn't matter if it's a mess. But yesterday we had so many people on board, putting stuff back in the right places, cleaning stuff, like even the cushions from downstairs, the blue cushions from downstairs were cleaned. So it's becoming more and more like a house, because before you know it, 2 or 3 days, we're going to be in the water. Because it's going to be so soon, and we have such a big team above the waterline, I'm going to head under the waterline and start prepping the hull for anti-fouling. What does that mean? We've got a metal plate by the rudder, or more likely by the propeller, which I'm going to get completely cleaned up from barnacles and anything biological or organic, and then get some epoxy primer on there, and then also check underneath the keel, which I haven't had a big look at yet, and I know the rudder needs some grinding as well. Once that's done, we can buy a tin of bronze, just get the base paints on. I'm pretty sure we can get 3 coats on in a day, nice and early, lunchtime and evening. So that's 6 coats, that will be more than enough on top of one we already have. Look at that, a beautiful day, which means we can get a lot of this painting stuff done. Also, whenever I grind down to bare wood, remember I'm adding a few coats of epoxy, pure epoxy resin, just for shipworms and anything else. You don't want any bare wood to be exposed if the anti-fouling gets damaged or something, you see what I mean? So let's get going. I talked about everything's tidied. It's still a lot going on over here, but yesterday the entire inside, which is kind of like a no-go zone now during the work, unless you've got clean shoes, you're not with fully painted clothes. Anyway, let's get it down there. I've got the grind, I'm gonna get the overall on, and let's just get those last bits of hull cleaned so you can get started on the anti-fouling. All the metalwork's been painted, at least all the bits of rust. I think I might just cover the whole thing. Why not have primer, anti-fouling, just extra coats, whatever. And what we didn't paint last time was the shaft. That's painted with an epoxy primer now, and these as well. Very, very happy with that. Under the keel, literally the bottom part of the keel is also covered with epoxy resin already. We might go with one more coat. Once that coat's on, I think we can already start painting the anti-fouling. Start nice and slowly, make sure everything's covered, and then just keep applying coats until we launch. We've got to put some bronze paint on those naked areas first, and then the anti-fouling on top. But it's exhausting and it's hot, but we're getting there. That's the most important. Spirits high. What I'm doing before painting, I forgot to mention, we used to have just regular nuts on the thread, and the thread used to stick out and be very sharp. Now we're adding the rounded ones, which not only look nicer, if you end up cleaning the hull around here and you end up kicking one of these while you're swimming, you're not going to hurt yourself as much. The priority is to do them here, as this is going to be kind of hard to do under the water, and we've also got some along the chain plates, which we're going to do so that the new sails do not get ripped when we drop them, that if they get stuck on a thread. So the boat is going to look even nicer and better finishing with these 1/2 inch nuts.
The clock's ticking, it's finally time to go back to the water, and the hull is still not painted. And you might wonder, why did you not paint the hull yet if that was one of your priorities? because painting the hull is the last thing you do before going to the water, because the anti-fouling doesn't like being exposed to sun or air. So you have to paint it and go to the water as soon as possible right after. As you want to do at least 3 coats, we're gonna start 2 days before, which would be tomorrow. So today is just our last chance of preparing the hull before we can start painting, so that's why we're running against the clock now. As we did some repairs on some of the caulking, we need to reapply epoxy resin in some areas, then the primer, and then only later we'll be ready for the anti-fouling. So that's why we are with a big team working on many things at the same time. This over here is the inlet of our engine. Our engine is cooled with salt water that enters the boat through this hole. So I'm just coming here to have a look, and I found some shells like this. It's like thin, so it goes in, but then it doesn't come out because it stays flat. So I'm just gonna make sure that I get rid of those before we go back to the water to start fresh. By the way, this goes to another filter before entering the engine, but still. This one I just broke and it had slime inside, so it was an alive animal, which means that it was growing in there, so I don't know if I can get it out. Well, I'll crack it perhaps. That was it.
Bye bye shiny. Hello red.
Ah.
There is practical and fancy. And we are going for practical.
Ah. Says the person who bought ATA food wooden boat.
Being practical with what we have, okay? Epoxy primer on all the metals under or near the waterline.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do. We were very happy with the overall state of our hull when we lifted. The only area that was more problematic was here, and we believe it was because of the metals that we chose before to leave it shiny in the stainless, and now we're gonna paint and cover so we don't accumulate so many shells in there. Hopefully this time we'll have a better result.
I think the next time we lift, we might just pull the waterline up to here.
You joking?
Anti-fouling, why not? I see all the fishing boats do it. Why not just?
Let's do it now,
man. We've just decided that we're going to change the design of on the waterline, inspired by fishing boats. Have a look at the fishing. See if they have it behind us. We need to rush. Está muito rápido, mais lento. Everyone's hard at work again. We've got the white looking whiter, we've got the blue not looking blue yet, because that's what we're doing all this for. What we've been doing mainly under the waterline is anything that's metal, painting with an epoxy primer. Then what we can do after that is go over the hull where it's needed, where there isn't any blue, with bronze paint. Of course, we're not going to put bronze paint on any metals because you don't want metals to mix underwater. Ideally, it's going to happen in some places, it's inevitable almost, but try to avoid it. Well, what we are going to do, it's not in the manual or anything, but you've seen we might have, we've got I think 4 Lumitech Seablaze minis on the sides of the boat, and then we've got 2 big Seablaze Quattros at the bow and 2 up. Even though they are super rugged, we are going to treat them. Of course, the glass is going to stay glass because you don't want to paint over that. But what the barnacles like doing, we've seen, is to get in those little corners where the hull touches the light, like little cozy areas here, and where the screws are. So Shashi and Pea's mom is going over, removing everything possible and leaving it nice and clean. We're going to go and get some caulking or some Sika and just go around, cover the screws and so on, and paint the outside, at least the metal bit here, which is stainless, in epoxy primer. And please go and get some tape, just tape off all the glass, and then once that's done we can start working with some dirty stuff. And the next step is bronze. Wherever there's no anti-fouling, like here for example where it's been caulked, that's where we're going to put bronze, because this blue is the anti-fouling, and you can see right under there. We're already reaching the bronze, which means we don't need to apply it on those places. Rafa is here just making the white look white, including his face because he fell with the paint in his hand. But I'm going to remove the quadrant, get some black caulking in there, and get that done as well, because I think you might need this quadrant to steer the boat once we launch. So let's go.
I think the whole preparations that we had to do are done by now. So it's time to start painting with the bronze in some areas. Then later we can start with the antifouling. If I can ever open this tin.
It's gonna look nice once we drill it.
Beautiful.
Nice and slow. Perfect.
Eita.
Let it drip in your tray.
Glove o'clock. On the painting team today we have my mom, my cousin, and myself. Let's go.
Whee.
This bronze that we're gonna paint now is like the primer for the antifouling. As we're keeping most of the antifouling, it's just really for some areas, some patches that we had to redo the caulking, some just like this that's looking ugly, and mainly under the keel because, you know, when you hit ground, you take it out a lot, and we did run aground once, so we're gonna paint the bottom of the keel at least some 3 coats. And then we'll be ready for the blue antifouling on top of that. So it's not the whole boat, it's just these small patches. It's not a lot, but if I keep talking, it's never gonna be done. So let's get started.
Putting this bronze on the hull means we are on one of the last phases before launching. You can say we have a lot to do still. I mean, we're always going to have a lot to do. We can spend another 3 months here if we want, but our goal is to start traveling and get a lot more miles in than normal. The reason we're starting on this phase right now is this went ridiculously fast. So the caulking's been done already, the caulking compound's going over the top. And there's a guy over there on the back on the scaffolding who's already painting that boat. When that boat goes in, we're following straight after. So no more excuses to spend longer over here. We've got a new friend, super cute thingy. Holes have been plugged.
I don't know for how long you've been watching us, but this is our old keel. You can see that it was completely eaten by teredo worms, and that's why we're putting so much effort under the keel now. Like at least 3 coats of bronze and at least 3 coats of antifouling. So this is never Yabá's fate ever again. But how crazy is that there's not one single spot that is not eaten? Without ignoring the fact that the keel was supposed to be at least like 10 centimeters longer than this, and it was really eaten down. How crazy. One thing that we did differently too, under the keel we have a piece of sacrificial keel as well. I think you can see it from there. This piece is a sacrificial keel, so the keel is protected, and between them we have unedible stuff, so the worms cannot go through it to the real keel. If anything, we ever need to replace just the sacrificial one. The worms are actually little mollusks that live on shells. So this is their little house, and they eat the wood. So they're not garden worms, they are like this, in shells.
Do you dare to start on this already?
We're doing it.
I was gonna say there's no going back, but if we don't like it, there's always going back. All right, put the first one on, rip the plaster off, just go.
We are running to get ready, but we are going nowhere if that boat doesn't leave. So, as I still have some jobs to do, you can see it's still looking quite rough above the waterline, we gain an extra day. So we are not going back to the water tomorrow, but after tomorrow, and that means that we are not painting the antifouling now, because the antifouling doesn't like sun or air. It's only made for underwater. So we're gonna wait another day to paint it, and that will give us other chance to do other jobs that we really wanted to do on the dry. So it's actually quite good that we got this little delay. So now the next job is to bring that massive boom on board, because it's way easier now than later.
So what we're going to do next is ask the welders to weld the gooseneck onto the ring there, but for that we don't want the ring to be touching the mast, because the weld might burn the wood. To get access to this, we have to open the sail, drop the sail, lift the furler, loosen the turnbuckle, undo all the screws, and then tell the welders it's their time. So hopefully today we will have boom number 1 with gaff on top, boom number 2 with gaff on top. Imagine that. Now that the sail is down, we need access to this. I want to remove half of this so we can weld it away from the mast. But to get that off, we need to get this loose. To get that loose, we need to lift this whole thing up, which means take these screws out. Those screws all come apart and then get the turnbuckle a bit looser, which is going to happen now. We've done it a lot actually. We've even done the one at the bow over on the water, which is when we lost one of the parts and it took us forever and a lot of money to replace it. At least now if we drop something, it's a lot easier to pick up from the floor. Nothing is made easy. As you can see over here on this turnbuckle of the shroud, there is a little hole in here to put a screwdriver in, and you just keep spinning it to loosen it. We cannot, by lifting this or dropping it, have access to that little hole. So we need to loosen that turnbuckle anyway to be able to take this pin out. So we're gonna have to invent something. I'm thinking we just get a pipe wrench on here and see if we can do it like that. Anyway, it's not supposed to be like that, but obstacles keep coming our way, and there's only one way to solve them, and that is with this. Okay. Ahora sacamos este pino. Alright, the next step is to remove this pin now. You can see it's nice and loose, so it's not going to go clang. And if you're wondering, isn't this a support stay? It is not. We have two front stays, a stay between both masts going all the way across the tip of them, and a back stay which will soon be changed into two running back stays, so we can have the gaff swinging across freely. So there's a little wire on the other side over here. Now has to come out, and then we just push it through. De la cara. Okay, now we need to unscrew 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're jolly. Okay, first time ever that 100% of all the screws came off nicely. You hold that disc, I'll hold this disc.
Okay.
Give it a little hammer. Ready? Give it a little sand and an epoxy layer under here. And what's really nice is they stick welded a few lines in here just for extra grip. Have you noticed?
Didn't know that.
So this isn't actually the weld, is it? No, I think it's literally just stick welded so they could stick to the mast better. Okay, this is where the new gooseneck's coming on. So I'm going to bring, which side is going to the neighbours? Yours or mine? The same. Mine? I'll go now then.
No.
That one? Okay, yours.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're the same. Alright, I'll go there with the gooseneck, and then soon, hopefully
And
today we'll have...
running backstay support.
And the running backstay support. Beleza. Sent everything off to the welder. We can't decide how fast they work, but what we can do is we can bring the boom up, so one, it's already on the boat, and two, those, what are they called, horses that they are on? Cavaletes that they're on are going to be used for us to eventually, or tomorrow morning, start sanding the last bit of boat that isn't sanded. So two things are going to become available once we do that. Once the new metal pieces have been fastened on, it's become a lot heavier because I made the wood nice and light. Whatever.
Nada que nós fizeram não paga, né, Marcelo?
Vai ou não? É, pode até botar no... Esse aqui pode até encostar no chão se quer.
Não, pode, não vai encostar nada no chão. Pode ficar o que você quiser. Pode ficar o que você quiser.
Cuidado o verniz do Nico. Tá bom, segura aqui.
E aí ela não vai pra ali, ó. Chega agora. Ó, cuidado aí agora.
Boa!
Isso, agora empurra pra frente lá, aí. Muito bem, garoto. Esquece a outra.
This is the first time in the history of mankind that we have the boom and the two gaffs on the boat. Today is the day I think we're going to start painting the antifouling. It was all dependent on that boat there. The hull is closed. They've got 4 guys now, 1 guy on each side standing all the old paint or roughening it up, and then they're going to have the 4 guys covering the whole boat in paint, and then they're going to launch. So we're going to take it slightly easier by applying probably the first coat today. One other job we want to do is the cover board up there. It's the only, probably one of the only big pieces of wood left on the boat that's varnished. That is looking like a mess, so Nico's already been working very hard. I think I started yesterday by putting those 3 kind of scaffolding thingies up, and Nico continued this morning putting the rest up. Got a little mask. I'm going to get my goggles on, I'm going to get the grinder, I'm going to get grinding. Once that's done, Nico can head out with a nice bit of varnish or settle and cover that last piece to make the boat ready to launch. Doing the really rough bits with a, what is it, 60 grit, and I think Nico is going and removing some of the epoxy compound that's holding the joint together just to set it up. You don't want any gaps. We might go over with just a palm sander very quickly because this is delaying the anti-fouling paint job. So at least the wind's picked up. This morning it was so hot. Let's just hope it doesn't rain today. Very good. That was a hot job with 0 shade. Went over once with the grinder, used about 5 discs, and they just lost the extension cable. And then went over with the palm sander, the orbital sander, all over it again. Now they're just the vacuuming, the blowing function, getting all the dust off, because once that dust is off, we can just brush the hull a bit and then get the anti-fouling on. Tell me where there's some notches.
This part here is a bit funny. Meu Deus, what is that? Meu Deus, what is that? Why so dirty? Why so dirty? Why? Caio, look at me. Caio. Meu Deus.
We had everyone here yesterday. The entire hull was prepped, cleaned, sanded where it was needed, taped off, anything you can imagine for the anti-fouling. However, every single thing we do, anti-fouling, anodes, launch day, long story short, our launch day completely depends on the boat behind us. When are they going to finish painting? When are they going to start painting anti-fouling? When are they going to launch? Because there's no point us having all the anti-fouling on and us missing the tide because the boat behind us might not be ready on time. They say they are launching tomorrow, but there's no one painting yet, so we don't want to risk painting yet either. And this is MP's face and mine most of the time, just hesitant. But no time to waste. Let's make the most of our days at the yard.
Our list is not conquered yet, so we have to keep going.
Loads. So I'm going to make the third boom. Lots of you didn't know we were going to have a third boom, and me not either until recently. It's going to be a self-tacking jib, which is just a boom that goes, let's see if I can get it, from there to the mast. Tiny. And it's going to be a lot easier to make than the other ones because it's not going to be as much sail surface. So I've got the wood, I'm going to cut it in half, and it's going to be two pieces glued on top of each other. The reason I want to do that is because the welders are making the gooseneck for it and they want the exact measurements. If anything, I bring it over there again so they can weld the plates on place, which for us is better because you don't need to start with any fillers or grinding away wood. So without further ado, let's not waste any time. And there's loads of stuff to do in the boat as well, and around and under and on top and against and in front of. That's been our life, and I don't know about you, MP, but I'm really feeling ready to.
I don't
launch.
understand how we managed to do this for 3.5 years, because it's been, what, a month?
Yeah.
And I'm exhausted. I cannot wait to be on the water, sailing again, enjoying the upgrades.
I just felt a raindrop.
Me too.
That's changing things. So let's definitely not paint, because those guys won't come if it's raining, because they are painting the hull.
Okay, dilemmas, but we have other things to do, so.
Let's go.
Everything we had to do for the hull to be ready is done. All that's missing is the paint. That's the last step, so now we just wait and do other
I feel good because our main stress was getting the hull ready in time for launch day.
Yeah.
Our part is done.
Our part is done.
Now let's just wait until someone says, or someone with relevance, time to paint.
Thanks so much for watching and being part of this journey with us. If you'd like to support the channel for free and stay up to date with everything that's coming next,
And it has begun.
don't forget to subscribe. It really helps us more than you know. The build up to this moment has been intense. Another boat is already scheduled to take our place in the shipyard, so the pressure is definitely on. But now we're so close. All that's left is getting the bottom paint on, and then Yabá finally goes back into the water, ready for the next chapter. As we begin our journey thousands of miles up the Brazilian coast, and we cannot wait to share that.